We don't have our secretary or the city. We have to wait. I'd like to call the meeting to order though on time. I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order on time. And now we'll just wait for,
Wait for the headhunters.
yeah. Especially since, I don't know, do we have to have the oath repeated for us?
Yeah, we're gonna be sworn in, I don't.
That's what I'm
I just
saying.
learned something.
Yeah, y'all two are gonna never die.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
weird, but,
Been there, done that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hello? Gerald, are you just here to make sure that we keep it?
Oh,
Oh, yeah. if you
It's
want.
funny because we
Sure.
just asked for them.
Mr. Chairman, here's the-
Call the meeting to order. So
Okay.
the next thing on the agenda was for the administering of the oath of office.
So I have Nolan, Janet, is it Jeanette?
Mm-hmm.
So if you'll raise your right hand. I state your name.
I,
Moby
Jeanette
Causey,
Solomon,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office of Board of Adjustment
the duties of the office of Board of Adjustment
for the city of Stephenville
for the city of Stephenville
and state of Texas,
and state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve,
preserve,
protect, and defend the
and defend
Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United
of
States
of this state.
and
help me God.
in this state, so help me God.
So help me God.
And then just sign. There's one for you to keep and then I
you want to go that direction or that direction?
It
To you.
can come, yeah, we'll scan it in,
All right.
or I can pick it up after this moment if you want.
All right. Thanks, here. And so the next piece of business on the agenda is the election of chairperson and vice chairperson. And so I guess we'll start with any nomination for the chairperson position.
I nominate Mumon for chairperson.
I second.
All right, thank you. We'll just call for a vote. I guess there's no reason to have a discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I'll abstain from that. What's the word? Abstain?
Same.
All right, so 4 yeses and 1 abstention. And then now, thank you guys. I'm happy to do it. And
You do a good job.
thank you very much. Thank you. Let's go ahead now and vote for the vice chairperson. And right now, Devin is the vice chairperson. And so I don't know that, since, do we have to go ahead and elect one anyway? even-
Yes, because it's a new year, but if y'all choose to have Devin as vice chair this year, then we just need a motion.
All right.
I move that we accept Devin as the vice chair.
I second.
Thank you, folks.
And all in favor, say aye.
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 Abstain.
All right, so 4 yeses and 1 abstention from Devin. Thank you. And appreciate Devin's willingness to serve in that capacity for another year. And we're just happy that all of you are on the board, so I appreciate that very much. And so now we'll move along to the public hearing part of the agenda. We need to hear case number V 2020-001. And Karen, would you please read that to us?
So applicant Middle Trinity Groundwater Conservation District is requesting a subdivision waiver from section 154.10.d, wind energy conversion systems to be constructed at 930 Wolf Nursery Road, being Lot 8, Block 1 of the Doss addition to the city of Stephenville, Erath County. So the reason this is coming before y'all is because the city ordinance says that wind energy conversion systems shall be unlawful to construct, erect, or install a wind energy conversion system within the city limits of Stephenville, which includes wind turbine, windmills. So that's why y'all are hearing the case tonight. Stephanie is here if y'all would like to talk to her about that.
Karen, when did that become law?
I would have to go back and look. I'm not sure when that was adopted.
So I'm wondering if it had to do with the technology at the time?
I'm not sure. I can check into that and see.
I would imagine that it would just be, I mean, windmills have been around for many,
I don't
many
think that
years.
it
This is not
applies
this
to decorative windmills. It applies to those that are gonna be.
converted.
Yeah,
Functional.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just, yeah, so I mean, there are windmills and turbines that power water pumps,
Correct.
right? This is not that kind of, we're talking about wind to electric and energy, right? So,
So this has nothing to do with water.
Potentially. So if you look at your plan there,
Mhm.
you'll notice there's a lot of beds. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna build an outdoor learning center. And within that learning center, we will have a lot of educational opportunities for students. And so we're going all native, and we'll have potentially, obviously, we're gonna have to irrigate some, especially to get established, but once we're established, it'll be minimal. So, with the wind turbine itself, basically, our main focus there is for educational purposes for students. So, as I was looking through and planning, the center, it's outlined in over 20 different, the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills established by the TEA. So we feel that this would be a very good example if we could provide that in their own neighborhood for them to come, see it, feel it, touch it, see how it converts to energy, because all of that is something they're supposed to learn, and most of the time it's within a textbook.
Is this
Yes, ma'am.
aimed at high school age children, junior high, college, or
All grade levels.
This
So it
is
would
where
be
the-
able to be utilized by all of the educational agencies
Yes.
in the town?
This is one of the takes that's taught from at least 3rd grade up.
Yes, and I have them here if you guys would like to look at them, but I didn't think you'd want me to bore you with all of that lingo. But I found from kinder all the way through high school.
I don't mind, I'm an educator, I wouldn't mind hearing a little bit of the lingo.
Okay.
What do you,
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Which
I'm a
grade
learning-
level would you like for me to start? Kinder or
pre-K,
anyway?
kinder, whatever,
Okay.
yeah.
So I nailed down just basically I started at kinder. So explore different forms of energy, and then there was light, thermal, and sound. But obviously we would include air with that. Demonstrate how to conserve, dispose of natural resources. So then we would get to tie in natural resources. That's for kinder. So if we go into first grade, then they also it's the same one, just about
Okay.
identify and discuss. So we move up, that
Mhm.
tier. Demonstrate the air is all around and observe the wind is moving air. So if that would be a great example, and then we could turn that and up that rigor a little bit up into how it's converted into our sources. Then we'll just kind of skip around and go to third grade. So this one, it'd be a little bit abstract, but just demonstrate and observe how position and motion can be changed by pushing. So then, typically I know when they're tested, they start getting tested in third grade for the STAR. That's going to be your pulley systems and things, but it might give them that abstract idea of it's not just a pulley system. It also can operate as far as, okay, this is another force in our nature. Explore characteristics of natural resources. So we would be able to tie in our water. Well, air is also with this too. If we were to show the windmill and how it could also be functional as well. Let's see. If we go to fourth grade, identify and classify Earth's renewable resources, including air, plants, water, and animals, and non-renewable resources. And this is a very hard concept for them to grasp because it just is. I'm still trying to grasp renewable, non-renewable, and how do you determine? It's not a black and white line. It's very gray there sometimes. So then you move on to fifth grade. Demonstrate that flow of electricity in closed circuits can produce light, heat, or sound. So that would be another aspect that we would incorporate within that pavilion. We would use the electricity that was generated through that turbine to generate the lights that are in there, as well as some different devices that they could use to collect the data as well.
Okay, I think that's a good
That
sense of
cover
it.
it?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
in other words, it's really aimed at educational, and it's
Yes.
not about lighting a block
No.
or
Absolutely.
providing energy to someone in another state.
It's not an income producer,
Yeah.
in other words.
It's not gonna be a
Not at all.
pipeline of, okay.
No, it's strictly gonna be contained to the pavilion there, as well as just if, we might have a solar pump for water if
Sure.
we have to use that for that. We're gonna try to utilize rainwater harvesting as much as possible, being that we are a conservation district. We're trying to show the impact
That's awesome.
for groundwater.
So is this whole thing has been passed and is going to move forward with the exception of the turbine?
Yes,
Is
and
what-
we're still working, making through the adjustments. You know how with projects,
Right.
you live and grow with it, and then it changes and adapts.
But this isn't conditioned upon, like this is moving ahead.
This is moving ahead.
It's just that you want, and I'm just looking at this photo that you've sent, that you
Yes.
gave us, this one box here.
Mhm.
It shows a very thin pole
Yes,
compared to those ones that you see off in the horizon miles away.
yes.
And the blades look pretty small,
Yes.
but I wanna make I wanna confirm that we're not looking at huge,
No, sir.
huge.
So the
Rotor
diameter,
diameter, 46 inches, is
46
that just
inches.
one blade, or is that the entire?
that's the entire. So it would just be the entire, I guess you could say the
Like
circumference.
4 feet,
Yeah.
2 feet.
Yeah.
Okay,
4 foot
so
across.
the entire diameter would be 4 feet or
4
8
feet.
feet?
It's four-
Radius
4
would be
feet.
2 foot diameter.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
each side
Four
of
foot.
it.
So in this
Yeah.
2 inches short of
diagram,
4 foot.
So your span, the swept is 11.5 square foot. So
Okay.
as that's rotating, and it could stand 110 miles per hour. And the pole is 1.5 inch schedule 40 pipe. So, and
Yeah.
this is coming straight from the manufacturer. And
Yes.
so they have consultants. So whenever we would get our utility load and anything that we need, then we would go to them and they would make sure, they look at all of our, I didn't print this out for you guys, but they would look at our location, look at our wind speeds, kind of study, look back at research bases before we would haul off and just, we're gonna buy this wind
Erect it.
turbine and we're gonna be so excited. And so it will be designed for our specific locations.
So those studies are yet to come, or have you already done studies about?
I have not,
wind
because I don't
speed
have the
and so
utility
forth?
loads that we would need for that.
Okay.
So to give that person those specifics, we're just not to that point yet.
And in this
So-
diagram, that the pole going up through the middle of this building,
Yes, ma'am.
is that the turbine or is that a flag?
That's a turbine. So
Oh, but-
we had hoped to put it, incorporate it within the middle of the pavilion.
Okay,
And so that could be changed. It could be out to the side of that. There is a future view. Do we have that up there?
I don't have it up there.
I can show you here. So
Oh, that one I do have on the slideshow. That one you've got in your
this
hand.
one,
Mhm.
I have
Yes,
this
that's
bigger
on the
one I
print.
can show as well too. It may be easier to see than just up there. So futuristically, this is kind of what we're looking at. So we started out with this open air pavilion here. I don't know if everybody can see, sorry. This open air pavilion here, and it's up there as well.
Okay.
But our future
Oh.
look is to go, we hope to be able to have research. So we've had conversations with Tarleton. We don't have any hardcore, commitments yet, so I don't want to vouch for them. But, to be able to have some research there and have a weather center for our students to have lab data there so that they can do their calculations, because a lot of times they have to predict their weather, their seasons and things like that. And so hopefully futuristically, we plan on doing a lab classroom area. So the pavilion would potentially be almost cut in half. So, but we still wanted to utilize that at the peak of the center of
is
that.
this the pavilion?
Yes,
So that flag looking thing is the turbine potentially sticking out
potentially, yes.
middle?
Yes.
Okay.
And for some reason, if that doesn't, it would just be right beside it
Okay.
in that same area. It's not
Okay.
gonna move from that area.
Now, will y'all also be using, just on a side note, will y'all also be using the water that runs in the creek right behind there?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And presumably, this is not something where you come back and say, we want to put up 15 more of these.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just one
One
pole, one turbine.
pole, one turbine, and then a windmill at the far corner of the big plan. Can I come up here? I'm sorry, I'm doing it in your face. Over here in the far corner, if you look at this big plan here, we have plans to put a traditional style windmill aesthetically, and we do have one that is donated. So as far as the specs for that one, I don't have those, we have 4 to choose from, so he hasn't told us which one yet, but the biggest that it can possibly be is 16 foot tall,
Mhm.
and then the mill part would be a diameter of 16 feet.
Mhm.
We don't have any use for anything that big, but obviously it's a donation, so we're kinda at the mercy.
Somebody donated a windmill?
Yes,
Wow.
yeah. So, we're very gracious for that.
Okay, is that second windmill gonna show the differences between windmills and
Yes.
is it versus old technology versus new technology?
Yes, ma'am.
Education?
And how it can be used for water collection. So we can show the technology how it's, okay, this is what we did way back when and some currently. And then now we'll have a well model just to show this is what we've gone to.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Any
That-
other
that-
questions for Stephanie?
I
Yes,
was gonna
Karen?
let Jeanette know that this passed in 2009, so
Okay.
10 or 11 years it's been on the books.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any idea what the noise level of the windmill would be with the turbine?
When I spoke to the gentleman at this company, he said it's very, very quiet. It's a very quiet level. I don't believe, you might hear a tiny buzz when the wind turns the right way, but I
Okay,
don't think
because
with
in
this-
our apartments, we have a lot of dogs, and a lot
Right.
of them are very sensitive to sound, so.
right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank
All
you.
right. Do we have anyone else from the community who would like to speak to this request? No? All right, well, we'll close the public hearing portion of this request. And as far as the board's concerned, we have 2 choices, it looks like, with conditions that could be imposed on either of them, is we'll consider the subdivision waiver petition, and we can take one of the following actions. Deny the petition, impose the standard or requirement as it's stated in this subdivision ordinance, or we can grant the petition and waive in whole or in part the standard or requirement as it is stated in this subdivision ordinance. So if I'm understanding this correctly, we could grant the petition, but with conditions?
Yes.
Okay. So do I hear, do you want to discuss the
What are the
request?
possible conditions that we,
It's the kind of thing where you could say, as long as it doesn't exceed a certain height, or as long as there's really only going to be one, or as long as there's, you know, like those kinds of things.
okay.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
There is one, and we're discussing right now, but the second turbine that you said was a possibility to be constructed that was donated, would that require a new
No,
proposal?
because
No, it's
the
just
way
a
I have it
it's a
wrote-
windmill.
so for the agenda, I just have that section is dealing with her request.
Mhm.
For the
And in-
turbine, not a windmill.
Well, in there, it says wind energy conversion system is defined as aggregation of parts including the base, tower, generator, rotor, blade, support, sky wires, accessory equipment such as utility interconnect and battery banks, etc., is in such configuration as necessary to convert the power in wind into mechanical or electrical energy, wind charger, windmill, or wind turbine. So this addresses both of her requests.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Beautiful. Usually in the past, the city has, made a recommendation or has stated any objections to this request. Does the city not have a statement? Usually we do. I mean, usually there is one, like,
The only thing is that that section of the ordinance says that it shall be unlawful, and that's why it's been brought to y'all,
all right.
for y'all to make that determination of what you would like to.
So we're
Yeah.
granting an exception to that.
You can either deny or you can grant.
Yeah, a waiver,
Okay.
yeah. Well, do I hear a motion to grant the waiver in this request?
I'll make a motion to grant the approval of the petition, case number V 2020-001 as presented.
Do I hear a second?
I would like to make an amendment to that it is strictly, that it is stated strictly for educational purposes for that location only, so that other locations can't come back later and say, well, we did it for so-and-so in a non-educational setting.
All right, so I hear a friendly amendment to that,
Which makes it one of a
Motion.
kind.
yeah. So do I hear a second?
I second the amendment.
Okay. All right, well then, any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote to approve the motion presented by Devin and then with the amendment added by Jeanette, to grant this appeal for a waiver, I should say. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, so it's granted. All right. Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to introduce Steve Killen. He is our new Director of Planning and Development.
Hey. all
And
right,
so-
congratulations.
He will be presenting next month to y'all. So I
All
just
right.
wanted to introduce him to you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much.
You're gonna train him right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, well,
Did we need to make the vote on the amendment?
No, we already did all
Okay.
that, yeah. So,
That was
yeah.
Well,
Yes. Or did we not actually vote yes for the amendment?
no.
We did not.
No.
Oh.
Devin made a motion, and then Jeanette made an amendment.
Right, so
need a
we
second.
have to vote for the amendment first. and then we
The
can-
appropriate way to have done it, or
Oh.
that you need to do it, is Mr. Hanson's motion needs to be seconded. Ms. Soam can offer an amendment,
During the, yeah,
and it can be seconded. Then you vote on the amendment, then you vote on the original.
thanks.
And,
All right.
and I would, as city manager, oh, by the way, I'm Alan Barnes, city
Yeah.
manager. Sorry. As city manager, I would recommend that you do that.
Okay,
Thank you.
and we didn't recognize you without your beard, so thank you for saying, yeah, I appreciate
That's
that.
what's different.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, let's do it the right way. I'm not always rusty with Robert's rules, but when it gets that kind of, so, all right, so all in favor of the amendment, because we heard a second for that, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we have approval for the amendment.
Well, Devin, let's first. Devin made a motion to grant approval as presented, so we need a second.
Oh,
I'll second it.
all right.
And then Jeanette made an amendment.
During the discussion, we can, yeah,
Mhm.
You just make the amendment again.
all right.
Yes.
Okay. So we have a second for Devin's motion, and it's now, do we have to vote on that amendment?
to
Yeah.
vote on the amendment first, but she's got to reintroduce it.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
So I seconded Devin's
Yes.
motion with the amendment that it is stated that this has been approved for educational purposes for this location only.
And then do I hear a second to that?
Second.
Okay. All in favor of that amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Now we can vote for the original motion as amended.
Correct.
All in favor, do we have to have a second for that? I don't think so, we already have that.
You already
We already
have a
have that.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, I think we got the process
Thank you,
down.
Alan.
It's almost like hearing the punchline before the joke's been told, you know, but, all right. Well, I'm gonna move that we adjourn the meeting, and I don't think we'll hear any objection to that, so
No.
we'll see you next time when we actually do the minutes next time too, for this meeting and last
And
meeting.
last,
So,
Nice.
all in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks.
Thank you.